Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. On January 6th of this year, shortly after noon, news leaks that Merrick Garland would be getting a huge new job.
Two sources familiar tell my colleague Mike Memoli and me that President-elect Joe Biden has selected Judge Merrick Garland to serve as his attorney general. Merrick Garland is someone who is widely viewed, who can be a unifying force within the Department of Justice, trying to restore public faith in that institution and restoring morale within it.
Garland, of course, everyone knew, went through a historic snubbing in 2016 after then-President Obama nominated him to fill Antonin Scalia's vacant seat on the Supreme Court. And for nearly a year, Senate Republicans pulled an unprecedented stunt, never been done before in American history, refusing to even meet with Garland, not to mention hold hearings or a vote on his nomination. But on January 6th, the redemption story began. He was going to be Joe Biden's choice for Attorney General. And then, well, of course, just an hour or two later, the rest of that day's awful events unfolded, overshadowing the potential new AG. And now, here we are. Nearly 2 months later, Garland is still the nominee, still not confirmed. Like deja vu, as the Department of Justice remains in shambles thanks to the Trump administration, which desecrated it every chance it got. And the reason that Merrick Garland is not yet the Attorney General, the reason is that Republicans understand they have no real power right now, except to delay and to troll to make things difficult for the Biden administration. There is no Republican governing agenda. They have no affirmative goals to accomplish. They just want to hurt the new Democratic president and the Democratic majority in Congress in any way they can. So, enter Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, unilaterally holding up Merrick Garland's nomination because he didn't like Garland's answers to his Fox News-style questions about immigration and guns and racial equality. That leaves Merrick Garland stonewalled for the second time in 5 years by truculent Republicans who are not actually interested in the business of governing. Unless you think this is the first time Tom Cotton has pulled this kind of stunt, he has a history of this, including one of the most shameful episodes of Republican obstruction in the entire Obama administration, which is really, really saying something. You see, back in 2015, Tom Cotton blocked the nomination of Cassandra Butts to be the United States ambassador to the Bahamas. Butts was a friend, an advisor, an associate of President Obama. The two of them met at Harvard Law School. Full disclosure, I knew Cassandra as well. Cotton's hold on Cassandra Butts' nomination, it had nothing to do with her. Absolutely nothing. Literally zero. He even admitted as much, telling Butts herself that blocking her was a way to inflict special pain on the president. And well, Tom Cotton got his wish. He blocked Cassandra Butts until she died. That's right. She died. After a brief illness in May of 2016, she succumbed to acute leukemia while still waiting to be confirmed. More than 2 years after her nomination. So congratulations, Tom Cotton. You did it. You did hurt President Obama. I think that probably hurt when his friend and associate nominee died before she could take over as ambassador to the Bahamas. That was a win, I guess, for Tom Cotton. He's tried it before. That's the model of governing we are seeing from Republicans. Temper tantrums and obstruction and nonsense, focusing on priorities like Mr. Potato Head and Dr. Seuss, attacking Joe Biden for referring to lifting mask mandates as Neanderthal thinking. We're seeing a perfect example of that model on display tonight, right now, as I speak to you, as the Senate moves towards a vote on the $1.9 trillion pandemic relief bill. And Republican Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin is making good on his promise to slow down that relief, getting to Americans by whatever ridiculous means necessary.
I don't want to sound like a leftist, but I'm going to resist. Okay, so the first way I'm going to resist is I'm going to go down and object to the waiving of the reading of the bill. I will make them read their 600 or 700-page bill.
Good for you, Senator. That's right. In the midst of a pandemic that's killed 520,000 Americans, thousands every day. We're just numb to it now, but every day it continues. And it's put millions out of work. Ron Johnson wants to delay help getting out to the American people by forcing the Senate clerks to read aloud all 728 pages of the bill. They have been at it for nearly 5 hours already. They're expected to go into the wee hours of the morning. Remember the last time that we had a Democratic president in office? Remember that? Mitch McConnell said the single most important thing we want to achieve is for President Obama to be a one-term president. It was the overriding impulse that determined Republicans' behavior throughout the Obama administration, and we are almost surely in for another round of that.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.